and welcome back to Bianca's Book Cafe. I hope you guys have a drink and you're ready to settle in. I wrote a book in a month, and I know that some people think that if you write a book in a month, the quality is down or whatever, but I wrote a short novel. It's I think it's 220 pages, and it's pretty short. It's a romance novel, and I got the idea from going to a basketball game. My fiance loves basketball, and we went to a Lakers game. He's really into LeBron James, and as we were watching the game, I saw that the players sometimes argue with the ref. That's what it looks like from a distance. And I was like, wouldn't this be a great enemies to lovers story if the ref was a girl, and then the basketball player was always arguing with her? And so that's where the idea kind of came about. And so I've had this idea in my head for a really long time, and not a really long time, a few months. And so I've already kind of had the storyline down in my head. All I had to do was just write it down. And it didn't really take that long to write it all down. So how did I write a book in 1 month? Most people find that really difficult and hard, and it was difficult, but I technically wrote it, the first draft, in 2 to 3 weeks. And the way that I did it is I kind of tend to write in one sitting a lot. So for this book I wrote from around 2,000 to 6,000 words a day. And I wrote pretty much every day for those 2.5 weeks. So that's how I was able to finish it, the first draft, pretty quickly. And it's only 50,500 words, so it's not a hugely big book. It's a very short story. So the way that I did it is I had the story kind of planned out. I knew what direction I wanted it to go in, and so I had the general outline planned. I had the characters, who I wanted the characters. I knew who I wanted to murder her, because the story is about how she gets murdered, and she thinks she's a referee in the NBA. She gets murdered, and she thinks that this basketball player who she's known for since middle school, and who she has hated since middle school, is the one who killed her. But it turns out that he didn't, and she's a ghost, and they have to figure out who murdered her. So it's kind of a mystery, a little bit. It's not a hugely big mystery. It's mostly a love story, and obviously they fall in love, but she's a ghost, so it's tragic. But anyways, I knew who I wanted the murderer to be. I originally had it as a different character, but then I talked to one of my friends, and she was like, that's not a good enough villain, I guess. And so I was like, okay, I will change who is the murderer. So I've had that down. I had the general outline down. But the way that I write is I kind of write from it's I write from memory a little bit. It's what makes writing so many words in one sitting easier for me, is because I do write from memory. I saw this post where it's oh, your best writing comes from when it feels like you're remembering something. That's kind of how I write always. If I can't remember a scene in my head, then I just don't write that day. You know what I mean? So I just went with the flow, and I just wrote down the story from memory. I don't know how else to explain it. So I just wrote until it was finished. I mean, I had the general places I wanted to hit. I wanted her to get murdered, right? Then I wanted her to fall in love, and then we find out who the murderer is. Those are kind of the 3 things that I wanted in the story. Yeah, I don't really know how else to give advice about how to write a book that quickly. Obviously that was just the first draft, and the first draft is not perfect. I am not William Faulkner by any means. Even William Faulkner is not William Faulkner. In case you didn't know, William Faulkner always insisted that he never edited his stories, that his first draft was like perfect. And do we really believe that? I don't believe it. So I used to like be really frustrated about that because I was like, oh, like my first draft is not perfect, you know? But then William Faulkner's wasn't either, and he just lied about it, you know? So obviously that first draft where I wrote like really quickly every day for like 2.5 weeks, I obviously I didn't, it wasn't perfect. Like it wasn't like great, you know? I had to edit it. That's where the magic comes, is the editing, right? And so it had to be edited. I would say that like the best advice that like I have to give to like get a story down, not as fast as possible, but just to get it down, is just to write. Just write, you know, whatever you want to write, just write it all down, and then you can just change it later. And that's pretty much what I do. But yeah, so that's how I wrote a book in a month. If you guys have any questions about it, you can put it in the comments below. Anyways, I hope you guys keep drinking whatever it is that you're drinking today. And I hope you guys have a great day. Bye!